Greetings, Judas. DFG getting in flight. Hey guys, I just want to take a moment and just share my thoughts around the latest movie. I guess it's HBO Max. Not that it matters, but it's about the Black Panther movement, Judas and the Black Messiah. And as a child, I almost want to say as a child of the Black Panthers, although I was not. No one in my family was a member of the Black Panther Party. I was a little boy who benefited from, the efforts of the Black Panther Party. I mean, the first time I think I had breakfast from anybody outside of my family structure, it was breakfast that was provided by the Black Panther Party. My family was extremely poor. And breakfast was definitely, something that if it wasn't just some generic cereal and powdered milk, or powdered eggs, pretty much you weren't having breakfast. I mean, if you ate that, you could have breakfast. And even as a child, as a little boy, being very suspect of what I put in my mouth as I am as an adult, that just wasn't working for me. So many a morning I would go home, I would go to school and not have breakfast. But when the Black Panther Party came into our community, they set out flyers and, to let all the people know that if you had little children and you were struggling to provide a meal for your child, then that child could come to one of their offices and they would provide free food, grits and eggs and, meat, etc. And of course, I don't know if my mom told me to go, but I could read at 6 or 7 years old. And I saw the place. I had to walk by there going to school anyway. So I would venture off and I would go into the little, eating area, the little kitchen, and I would have breakfast. And they were very encouraging. They would tell me, come on in here, you little beautiful black brother. Here's breakfast for you. And, you're going to be strong one day. You're going to grow up. And just so you know, brother, we love you. We love the people. And that was so inspiring to me that even when I became a young adult after the party was long gone, I never forgot that. And I've done a lot of research and study on the party and things of that nature. And I learned a lot of things about a lot of benefits from the party. But here is the truth of it all. The Black Party was started off, as a vanguard organization for our people. The leader of the Black Panther Party, Huey Newton, made a decision that, hey, look, if we didn't defend ourselves from the racist police departments in our communities, then we will continue to be, harassed, shot, imprisoned, and sometimes murdered. And if we're going to, we can't expect the law and the judicial system, that is corrupt and pretty much put in place to oppress our people. We can't depend on that system, for liberation of the people. And that was a good thing. But instead of, I should say it that way, of remaining true to that, as the party started to grow, it started to reach out and look for other resources. And to some degree, income resources. And to get those resources, they had to make partnership with other organizations. And then as they made those partnerships with other organizations, then they began to compromise their original stance. And the original stance was for our people. But then the next thing and if you watch the movie, I haven't watched it yet, but I know enough about it where Fred Hampton, for example, someone again. I didn't know about Fred Hampton. I was too young to know about Fred Hampton, but I later on found out about Fred Hampton, and I was very proud of Fred Hampton. As a very young man, I was proud. Look at this man, 20 years old, 21 years old, and he's out here leading the people, and he's fighting for education for our people. He's fighting for economic liberation of our people. He's fighting against the racism that's going against our people, and I felt proud about that. But then, again, as Huey did, Fred started to follow, and many other in the parties, they started to take on this approach that we got to love everybody. We have to be inclusive of everybody who's in the struggle. We have to incorporate them into our struggle. Although these other groups never looked at them that way, never looked at our people that way. When the Vietnamese and the Chinese and the Japanese and the South Africans, and you can name it, all over the country, all over the world, were going through their things. In Bolivia and Colombia, Ecuador, all of these struggles, no one ever stopped to say, what about our so-called black brothers in America? No, when they had their movements and their struggles and their fight for liberation, they could care less about what was happening to us here in these United States of America. They did not care because it wasn't in their nature to care, and truth be told, it wasn't their responsibility to care. The only time they took notice of us if they could, leverage us for themselves. As you hear groups right now, Black Lives Matter, all the other groups, they want to quote Dr. King and the gay movement, want to talk about civil rights. That's the only time that they ever look in our direction, when they want to leverage or manipulate for advantage. But when it's about, suffering and sacrifice, taking an ass whipping, going to jail for us, taking a bullet for us, they'll have nothing to do with it. But yet, the Black Panther Party, in its latter stages, they wanted to be the party for all people. Not all of our people, but all people. And that's where you hear Fred Hampton making comments that, we want justice for white people and red people and brown people and yellow people and all, just all on and on and on and on. And ultimately what happened was that as he started to invite all these people in and started to trust and build partnerships with these people, treachery came into the organization. And many people say, yeah, but that treachery, DFG, was the government who were afraid that they would build a powerful coalition. I would challenge you and say, no, I believe it was Yah. Oh, you didn't hear me? Let me say it to you clearly. Listen. I believe it was Yahuwah that interceded on behalf of the heathens, those other organizations, to destroy the party. And that's a hard pill for me to swallow, again, as a child that had a very, very romanticized view of the Black Panther Party. As a child, who really honored them. Even as a man, I can still reflect upon and reminisce on those particular days that I shared with you as a kid, looking for resource, nourishment, not only physical nourishment, but spiritual nourishment from them. And got it. But see, my people, my brothers, when we walk outside of who we are as a people, and we start to incorporate these heathens into our walk as though these heathens can lead us somewhere, at that particular point, we go into what our book tells us is idolatry. The worshiping of heathens, the trusting of heathens, other nations, to bring forth a truth that only Yah is able to bring to this people. I'm talking about Israel and Judah. Until we're able to understand who we are as a people, we will never understand how we need to come out from among those people. Be separate. Don't touch those things, the unclean things of the heathens. Don't lust after the ways of the heathens. Until we're able to focus and stay focused on who we are as a people. Use the bylaws, the guidelines, the ordinances, the laws of Yah as our compass. Using those same laws, guidelines, bylaws as a point of reference as we walk courageously, I might add, towards Yah and towards all the things that Yah has in store for those who love Him amongst our people. Then we will be destroyed as the Panther Party was destroyed. The party was destroyed because they took their eyes off the prize and they started compromising. They wanted to be everything to all people. When Yah said, no, this is not about all of them. It's never been about all of them. We talked about that yesterday in the book of 2nd Ezra. at the very last part of the book, if you listen to yesterday's video, you will see that there were two different seeds that came out of Adam. One of those seeds became the people of Yah. The other seed became the wicked, nothing, demons, oppressors, murdering thieves. It was right there, hidden in plain sight, as they say. Or maybe, I guess I should say hidden in plain sight, because these were books that were taken out of our book to keep us in darkness, keep us ignorant. And now as they bring forth Judas and the Black Messiah, they're at it again. All these things happen for a reason. We look at these actors and these guys and, oh man, they're bringing forth the truth. No, this is just another con game, another situation of wolves in sheep's clothing. Because what he wants to do is take the emphasis off of what matters to us and the oppression that's going on with us. Because at the end of the day, all of these things from George Floyd to Alton Sterling to T.I.E. Jefferson to Bolton Jean, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, Eric Garner, and I can keep on going on. The sister Taylor, all these things were supposed to be about us. What was happening to us in this vicious nation that hates the melanin in our skin. Breonna Taylor, sister, I need to say her name. All these things were supposed to be about us. And now all of a sudden it's about everything except us. And see, this has always been the aim of the wicked ones, the heathens. Whenever we became or started to get any kind of momentum, then Satan would come in, as Yeshua said, and sow his tares amongst the wheat. In other words, put the unhuman, the heathens, amongst, the people of Yah to pollute them. And ultimately, you wouldn't be able to tell what the hell is going on. What is the point of anything anymore? That's why now all life matters. You get it? It went from so-called black life matters, now all life matters. Blue life matters, Irish life matters, this life matters, that life matters. All to dilute the truth of who we are and what is written in the book of who, in the eyes of Yah, truly matter. Judah, Israel. And unfortunately, my brothers and sisters, this is not, a new thing. And if you go all the way back to the late 60s, early 70s, even then, it was not a new thing. Whenever our people compromised themselves and started to look at the heathens as a better way, Yah has always judged our people. And he judged our people by using the hands of the heathens as an oppressor to our people. Deuteronomy, chapter 28 talks about it. But again, as our brother Solomon says, brothers and sisters, there's nothing new under the sun. And I plead with you this morning to wake up and understand the answer to our issues are not building coalitions with the heathens. That is the ultimate problem, not the solution. The problem for our nation is if we go out there or we continue to go out there and build coalitions with the fallen ones and the seed of the fallen ones. Until we come out from among them and separate ourselves from them, come back into our right minds that only Yah and his word can lead us and correct and heal us. Heal us mentally, where we begin to love ourselves and see ourselves as the only resource that's ever going to truly be all in to the people. Until we're able to do that, my sisters and my brothers, we'll continue to be marginalized, scattered, misused, abused, manipulated, taken advantage of, exploited, murdered. And we have no one to blame but ourselves as a nation. Because again, Yah has warned us time and time and time again. Be mindful of the wolves in sheep's clothing. And unfortunately, the party got caught up in that. And that's why you hear Fred talking about, justice for red people and justice for brown people, all power to yellow people and all power to brown, all these other crazy foolishness, all power to the Asian people and all power and all these niggas did was came in and robbed and pillaged us and then stole our resources, built their own resources around us, and then supported the other enemies who are already there exploiting and murdering and sided up with them against us. That's all those niggas did. I'm talking about the yellow niggas and the red niggas and the white niggas and the yellow, all them other niggas. That's what I'm talking about. And then made us act like niggas. Many of us. Because we started lusting after the same things they lust after. Money, power, and influence. So those niggas created niggas inside of the nation. The most honorable people on the land looking at the most wicked around the world and taking upon the ways of the most wicked around the world, and therefore now we're the niggas. Not all of us, praise Yah. Some of us are still in our right mind. Some of us will stand for this truth. I'm talking about the word and who we are in the people. Our people have this mindset that we'll never make it unless somehow or another we build a correlation with them. We take upon capitalism. Let's call, it's all about the bag. Let's get the bag. We got to get some, brothers and sisters, if you don't build that inside of your own community, you can believe one thing. There's a ceiling set for you and you'll never break through that ceiling. Because that ceiling is only to keep you at a certain point to make sure that they can control, exploit, and then justify their wickedness against us by pointing out one or two successful niggers and saying, see, they made it. Why can't you make it? They're doing it. Why can't y'all do it? But they would never recognize all of the exploitation, all of the systematic racism that is in play to ensure there's only one or two of the people, our people, who can have this figuratorial success. I hope I'm probably making up a word. In other words, the one or two of that they can look like they're successful, and yet you don't realize that these people will exploit you. I'm talking about the ones who are supposed to be successful among us. Not all of them, but many of them are more racist towards us than the enemy is. They will take advantage of you with the quickness. They will steal from you. They will rob you. They will con you, exploit you, sell you rotten goods, fake goods, etc. Again, not all of Judah, but many of Judah are like Judas Iscariot. For 30 pieces of silver, they'll do any goddamn thing. And they'll point to Judas as among us and say, see, i.e. the movie, Judas and the Black Messiah. They stick their little ringer in there with us and make that ringer look like, he's there for our good, when the truth of it, he's there not only to watch us, but to also ensure that he's constantly undermining us by using their systems, their processes. And that's why you have these mayors, these black mayors and black governors, black Senate people, and they stand black congressional black Congress, people who do nothing for the people. Nothing for the people. They're just black figureheads. Just right there, just so that if you ever say, where's our representation? See, we gave you a black president who in every measurement had a white racist mentality, talking about Obama. In every measurement, this man was as bigoted as George Wallace. If you don't know who that is, look it up. Talking about Barack Obama. And yet when we started talking about, hey, what's going on here? When are you guys going to do right by the people? Well, we already did right by you. Remember Mitch McConnell? We gave you a black president. Why are you looking for reparations? That's your reparations. And then you got the nigga Obama walking around saying, yeah, we don't need no reparations. Reparations is, that's just a distraction. We just need change, and we just need to do it together. And black men, you just go home and take care of your children. That's what that nigga had to tell us. Oh, and by the way, we need to love the gays. But again, as Solomon said, nothing new under the sun. Our people perish for a lack of knowledge. Our people. And I will tell you that the party was destroyed for a lack of knowledge, because the party should have stayed true to the people. They should have stayed right out there in our communities and protected the women, children in our streets. That's where they should have stayed, right there. But no, the wolves came in. Money came in. Filthy money came in. And like Judas Iscariot, for that money, they sold the people out. And for that reason, Yah destroyed the nation. I'm talking about destroyed the party. Yah did it. He may have used Hoover, and he may have used the FBI, and he may have used, the O'Neills of the world, but it was the hand of Yah. You don't believe that. You don't believe that. Some of you don't believe that. Well, here's all I can give you as evidence and proof. I want you to follow. I'm going to share a story that was written a long time ago as a warning, as a lesson, something that we should never forget unless we forget. It was written as a reminder. What happens when there are problems inside of our community and we turn to the enemy for resolution? When there are problems in our community, we turn to the enemy for resource. And I'm not talking about the righting of the wrong in terms of, paying what's owed to our ancestors that should have been passed down to us as generational wealth. I'm not talking about that. That's justly ours. I'm talking about when we start to compromise ourselves and become all-inclusive with these heathens. And then let them dictate to us what's good for us and what's not good for us in the form of wolves like the Obamas of the world, or the Kamala Harrises of the world, the Colin Powells of the world. And I can go on and on. What is this wicked one down here? Contrail. I think Latanya Contrails of the world. The little wicked witch, that runs the city of New Orleans, and the guy, calling herself the mayor. Continually exploiting this city for its resources and allowing adverse poverty and stress and depressed communities to exist right here in this city. Looks like a third world country. And yet she sits up there and looks down her nose at the people, talking shit. Because again, traitors amongst the people, catering to her white constituents and the people, her Asian constituents inside of the city. Those who stick the money in her coffers when no one is looking, at the expense of the people. And she's just one, and those others that are named are one of millions, unfortunately. So yes, Yah did judge the Black Panther Party. And yes, he allowed the traitors to come in there. So that Judas, just like Yah allowed Judas to betray Yeshua, because Yeshua said, I already know what you're going to do. Just go ahead and go do it. I already know you're going to do it. Him that has his hand in the plate with me is going to betray me. It wasn't a surprise to Yeshua what Judas was going to do. He knew what he was going to do, because Yah had already revealed it to him that Judas would do it, as Yah was revealing to us that these heathens would do it. Yah knows that these devils among us are going to betray us, especially if you are a person of influence, if you truly, genuinely love the people of Yah. If you genuinely, with all of your heart, speak up for the people of Yah, support the people of Yah, create opportunities for the people of Yah, show mercy to the people of Yah, and you one of the people of Yah, you can believe the wolves are coming after you. And those wolves are going to be people, in more cases than not, that look just like us, Judah, in Israel, unfortunately. And it's a sad, sad case. And Yah's going to judge their wicked asses. No question about it. He said, touch not my anointed. He said, you better not do any harm to my prophets. What do you think that means? It means he's going to tear their asses to pieces for the harm that they bring to any one of us who are leading, teaching, and loving the word and loving his people, the apple of Yah's eye. But you traitors among the people, You compromisers amongst the people. You all inclusive, misguided fools among the people. This is what Yah says. Let me take you to the book. Okay? Let's go to 2 Chronicles, chapter 16. We're going to get to this through this story. Because again, I don't want you to think that somehow or another, DFG is embittered. No, I'm not. I'm convicted. I have a conviction. I'm convicted because I love the people of Yah. I'm convicted because I love Yah. It has nothing to do with anger and bitterness. It has everything to do with, I guess at the end of the day, honor and respect. And wanting to challenge us, challenge the people, to step up to the plate, love ourselves, love, our Elohim, not in religion, in that other buffoonery, but in truth, walking men with their shoulders up and their heads held up high, looking at Yah, but at the same time being an example for the brothers and the sisters. Our sisters, you know what I'm saying? Letting their meekness become their beauty. Letting their honor become their glory. And not using their bodies to shame themselves. But let me get into the word with you, my sisters and brothers, and we're going to pull this thing in. Promise, real fast. 2 Chronicles, chapter 16. In the 6th and 30th year of the reign of Asa, Basha, king of Israel, came against Judah. Now, see, this was fighting amongst the brethren. And see, there are times there's going to be struggle amongst us. Y'all never said that would happen. But he said we were supposed to go before the elders in our own group, the elders of our own people, and they were to help decide righteousness. That's why the law is important. All these people talking about the law is done away, and that's why we have to go to the heathen judicial system, which is no justice system for us. That's why y'all say, don't go to them. Y'all need to settle this amongst yourselves. But yeah, we go rat each other out to the bosses, rat each other to the supervisor, rat each other out to the neighbor, to the police, rat it to anyone. Instead of saying, no, we need to come and we need to work this out amongst ourselves. As the Panther started to do, but unfortunately, they didn't stay the course. And because they did not stay the course, I'm sorry for that, judgment came upon the house of Israel. It says that Basha, king of Israel, came up against Judah, his brother, or one of the brothers, and built Ramah to the intent that he might not let none out to come into Asa, the king of Judah. In other words, selfishness was kicking in. And Asa brought out silver and gold out of the treasures of the house of Elohim and the king's house and sent it to Benadad, the king of Syria that dwelt in Damascus. Now here it is, turning to the heathens, looking for, so in other words, taking up us and saying, well, come on in with us. Let's be all inclusive. So he went to the heathen, the Syrian king. They had a problem within the nations. And what did they do? Instead of resolving it in the nation, instead of us resolving it in our families, in our communities, in our households, what we do is we go to the heathen looking for justice. And we go out there and we sell our souls to the heathens, sell each other out for the heathens. And then the heathens turn around and take all of that information, all of that knowledge, and they use it against the people to justify their abuse against the people. Black people killing black people. We've all heard that before. That's the justification of the injustice. Never looking at the reasoning of it, the diverse poverty of it, the tearing down of the family causing of it, the running the men out of the household by supplementing the women with welfare and child support at the exploitation of the men. They don't talk about that. They just talk about the high crime levels. And again, and our sisters, you know what I'm saying, who turn to the government. You're no different than what Asa doing here now, turning to Benadad, the king of Syria. Just so you know, you're going to the heathen for issues that you should be dealing with inside of the household. You should be talking to the parents. You should be talking to the other. You should be talking to the other men in the community saying, hey, look, This man is not doing what he's supposed to do. We need to come together and figure out how to get his mind right and get him back, pull him back into the fold and hold him accountable. We gonna hold him accountable. We're not going to the heathens. The heathens don't come to us when they have a problem. Hell, most of the time we never even know they have a problem until they come up with some program that ultimately ends up being beneficial to them at our expense. But here you see, that the Asa doing the right thing and going to Yah, he's going to go to the heathens, asking the heathens to help him out in this problem. When it's a nation problem. What I mean by that is an Israel problem, a Judah problem. Tell me that's not like what's happening right now, sisters and brothers. Tell me it isn't. Again, many of our brothers hate the sisters. What is this? MGTOW stuff? Men going without women? What kind of craziness is that? When I called that out a couple of years ago, said, you might as well call yourself a homosexual, they attacked me. Oh, you ain't nothing but an old coon. Well, you know what? For the sake of not being vulgar, because I know there are sisters listening to this, I would have some very choice words for you dumb, stupid idiots. I guess you hate your mama too then, because I think she's a woman. And then for you sisters, I don't need no man. Really? You don't, huh? Well, I tell you what, from where it looks inside of the society in terms of where you stack up in the economic pool, in the prison pool, in the oppression pool, seems like you need some help. Just saying. You don't seem to be doing so well, not when you compare yourself to the women, the heathens, and the relation and how they stack up against you. Maybe that's something you ought to think about before you start talking about you don't need your men. I can assure you the day will come when this nation and all these nations come against you to bring harm to you. If your men are not there to protect you, you'll regret that those words ever came out of your mouth, sisters. Them heathens don't love you. They lust you. I'm going to tell you again. Those heathens don't love you, sisters. They lust you. One more time. Sisters, those heathens don't love you. They lust you. Lust. L-U-S-T. In other words, they want to exploit you for their sexual pleasures and to use you to tear down your men by coming up with programs that entice you to turn your back on your men. Oh, and let us not forget, encourage you that sleeping with another woman is the equivalent of making love to a man who loves you. Unless you have never been loved by a man and made love to by a man, how could you ever believe such silliness? It's not even comparable. It's like the heavens from the earth, the distance between the two. So you young sisters who say, I'm just going to be a lesbian, you have no idea what you're doing to yourself before Yah, and you have no idea of what you're missing in terms of your wholeness. You're just a piece of woman. You'll never be a whole woman dating and laying up with another woman. The best you could be is a half of her, or a half of a woman. At best, a piece of something, instead of the glory of what you were created to be, and that is what a man, or someone to protect and provide, to teach, to guide. Praise Yah. I digressed there. Let me go back to the book, and I'm gonna stay here. And then Asia brought out silver and gold to the treasures from the treasures of the house of Yah. In other words, use the fundamental thing that Yah had given us for us to survive, the strength that He's given us as a people, the passion that He's given us for. We turn from that, and then we go to money and influence for the solution. That's what He does. That's what this is saying. So he sends this money. So he sends money to Benhadad, the king of Syria, saying, there is a league between me and you. I love everybody, white people, brown people, yellow people, red people. There's a league between me and thee. And there, as there was between my father and thy father. See, the Panthers and many other of our people have compromised themselves. Go read the story of W.E.B. Du Bois. You know, he started off for the people with the NAACP, and the minute he wanted to get in a leadership role or wanted them to change policy, they threw his ass out. And then he died, an old, depressed, sad, wretched man in Africa. But in his early days, he could not get along with Garvey, Marcus Garvey. He couldn't get along with Wash because, again, he bought into the lie that his Jewish friends were they saw him as their equal. But when he called upon them to say, okay, now it's my turn to take the lead, they said, oh, no, nigga, we didn't bring you in here for this. We brought you to keep the nigga down, not to elevate yourself and elevate them. Are you crazy? That's what happened. Same thing with Frederick Douglass, by the way, with William Garrison, William Lloyd Garrison, the abolitionist, the liberator, the author of the paper, The Liberator, back in the mid-1800s. Frederick Douglass, as long as he's out there talking about, you know, the slave movement and giving all these sad stories about living as a slave and making and creating this white guilt, as long as he was doing that, they were good with him. So, yeah, we can monetize this. They can keep this paper in circulation. People want to hear our paper because we got this little LeBron James type of nigga that we can put out in front of everybody and say, look at this nigga, man, he's special. Totally all want, you know, dogs and rats and, you know, and heathens. Look at this nigga, he can speak well. The Obamas of the world. But as soon as Frederick said, okay, now that we've gotten past slavery, now let's start talking about economic freedom for our people. William Lloyd Garrison said, oh, nigga, you going too far now. And that was the end of Frederick Douglass. See, this is what happens when we compromise ourselves as a people, my sisters and my brothers. You will never go anywhere looking to the heathen for answers. The answer resides in Yah. And Yah said that he created the laws for the people to help us to move forward. The law is not to imprison, as these liars said. The law is to guide us into true success, true prosperity, true families, strong communities. That's the purpose of the law. And nothing less than that. So we would have a direct line of communication to wisdom, which cometh from above. But no, we choose again the heathen, as King Asa did. Let's go on. And he said, let there be a league. In other words, let there be a partnership between me and you, and that there between your father and my father. And behold, I have sent thee silver and gold to break the league with Basha. In other words, I'm going to be a traitor to my brother. You know, I'm going to build a relationship with you, the heathen, at the expense of my brother, and I'll do anything you tell me to do as long as you help me. Isn't that like so many of our people? Yeah, I'll give you all information on my man so you can destroy him. Yeah, I'll be all part of your government assistance program so I can destroy my family. I'll do anything y'all want me to do as long as y'all give me some of the crumbs from your table. Never understanding that if you just build a relationship inside the communities, you won't have to eat crumbs. You'll be eating the best fruit. You'll be eating of the fruit of the land. You will get the milk and honey. But most of us, because of ignorance, I'm going to tell you something, treachery, you eating crumbs and you're going to keep eating crumbs from the master's table. When y'all said, no, if you let me lead you, I'll be with you, just obey me, then I'll give you the wealth of the enemy. He already said the wealth of the enemy was stored up for the just. He said, I will send you into their lands, and I will take the things that they stole from you, and I will give it back to you. If you would obey me, live for me, which means live for the people. What people? The people of Israel, the people of Judah. Us, the Negro, okay, let me be clear, the so-called African American, your brother and your sister that you see every day. So make sure I'm going to get this real clear for you. If you would look out for your brothers and your sisters, your children, your men, your women, every single day, y'all say, I will bless you. Even when they wrong you, y'all say, still don't betray them by going outside of the community. Deal with it in-house. He said, if you deal with it in-house, even if the people in-house don't rectify it, I will come in and rectify it. And as far as that wicked nigga, talking about the ones inside of the house who don't want to do right, Yah said, when I finish with him, he going to regret the day that he betrayed you. This is what Yah is saying to us. And that same thing with that wicked, female devil, if she's in the house. He said, when I finish with her ass, she going to wish she had been obedient and not betrayed her own people, her own kind. I'm going to make her the laughing stock. I'm going to make her the whore of the world. And you see he's doing a good job with that. Wop, wop, wop. Our sisters are the face of whoredom in the whole world now. Wop. Come on, wop. You can say it. Wop. What's wop? Go look it up. Go look up wop. Our sisters promoting whoredom in front of the whole world. Then just give me some money. Just like here. Here's some silver and gold, and you can get this wet-ass pussy. I'm sorry, but that's what they said. It is what it is. Let's stop pretending like we don't need to hear this truth. We always want to add some sugar to it. Well, be soft. Don't be harsh. Don't be so coarse. You need to be gentle. The hell with being gentle. We need to hear the truth. Because only the truth is going to set us free. Enough of this weak-kneed and feminized political correctness inside of the nation. Enough with it. We have to stop that. If we're wrong, we need to call it out. Verse 4. And then the heathen, Benadad, hearkened unto King Asa. Of course he did. He's always wanting to find the traitors among us to bring us down. That's what the heathen looks to do. They divide us and conquer us. Remember the Willie Lynch story? Willie Lynch? The Willie Lynch story? Divide them niggas and you won't have no more problem with them ever rising up. Turn the woman against the man. Remember that? The man against the woman. Let's go on. And look that up too, by the way. Look up the Willie Lynch letter. And read it, sisters. Read it, brothers. As a reminder, nothing new under the sun. There's a league between, then he goes on to Benadad hearkened to King Asa and sent the captains of his armies against the cities of Israel. And they smote Ijon and Dan and Abel Main and all the store cities of Naphtali. These are all the brothers of Israel. These heathens came in with the support of Asia, of Judas Iscariot, and slaughtered and robbed and stole from our people because Asa decided that he had a problem with his brother that he did not want to take before Yah, so he took it before the heathens. Because somehow he didn't think Yah's eyes or hands were strong enough to fix the problem. So our people died because of that Judas Iscariot. And it came to pass when Basha heard of it. Basha was the king of Israel, so you know when Asa was the king of Judah. When Basha heard it, that he left the building of Ramah and let his work cease. In other words, one man tore down the whole nation using the heathens because he wanted to partner with the heathen. He betrayed the people. One. All it takes one. You sometimes are the traitor of the people when you can't find love in your heart for forgiveness and mercy and consideration and encouragement, direction, teaching, and edification of the word of Yah to bring your children, bring your husband, bring your wives back into the fold, back into the flock of Yah. And Asa took all of Judah, and he carried away the stones of Ramah and the timber thereof, wherewith Basha was building. And he built therewith Gabba. In other words, when they got into the fight, he used the enemy. And then when the enemy tore down the people, he went in there and then exploited the people. And that's what's happening right now. They use these Obama-like characters, the LeBron James-like characters to betray us. And then all of a sudden we get confused. And then they send their white agents, their feminists in here, their Black Lives Matter enemies, and their gay movements inside of our communities, their abortion movements and pro-choice movements. And they kill and destroy our people. Destroy the movement as they did to the Panther Party. Because Fred Hampton and Huey Newton, Elaine Brown and all of them could not get their minds right. They couldn't stay the course. They had to compromise. We have to be all inclusive. We're the only nation that thinks that the right path to success is including everybody. Yet every other nation understands for their nation to move forward, they have to be tight-knit. They have to marry their kind, live with their kind, do business with their kind. Except for us. They never, all of them understand it. The Italians understand it. The so-called Jewish understand it. The Puerto Ricans understand it. The Mexicans understand it. The Europeans understand it. The Polish understand it. The Russians understand it. All the nations of the planet understand it except for the nation that is the chosen nation of Yah. We're the only one. Again, Isaiah said it well. The ox knows his master. The ass knows his owner. But my people don't have a clue of who they are. We're the only ones. The ox, the ass, that's the heathens. They all know what way to go. They all know that their power is sticking together. But not our people. We'll betray each other for the most petty foolishness you could ever believe. 30 pieces of silver taking down a whole kingdom. A whole nation. 30 pieces of silver. That's the equivalent of probably $30. Destroying it. And that's how people are right now. Give them some chicken and they'll do any goddamn thing. And don't tell me I'm using a racist slur. I see that happening every day. Our people going above and beyond for a chicken plate. Not money, not resources, not opportunity, not for a job, not for influence, for a chicken plate. So don't tell me it's still not happening. It is happening. And I'm talking about doing business and supporting and chasing after the heathens, and the heathens give them chicken plates. But that's what we get. That is the judgment of Yah, as he judged the Panther Party and as he's judging us. Let me go further. And it came to pass when Basha heard it that he left off building. Okay, I did that already. Let's go to verse 7. And at that time, Hannah, the seer, Yah sent a prophet. Praise Yah. He's always going to send a messenger with a word for the people. So Yah is going to put a word on the tongue of his messenger for the people. So he sent Hannah, the prophet, to Asa. And this is what he said to him. And at that time, Hannah, the prophet, came to Asa, king of Judah, and said unto him, because you have relied on the heathens, and not relied on Elohim, thy creator, therefore is the host of the king of Syria escaped out of thine hand. See, Yah is saying, I would have taken down these heathens for you by now. But since you turn to the heathen, I'm going to let the heathen continue to oppress you. As long as you turn to the heathen, as long as we keep looking to the heathen, their system of correction, their system of support, their system of economic, stability, Yah say, I'm going to use them to hold you down with them. I'm going to send you $1,400. That's all your black ass going to get. Until I decide to give you something else. And I'll decide when I get ready. That's the heathen's message. What did it profit a man to gain the whole world and lose his soul? And this is what Yah is saying to the people. This is what Yah said. He sent the prophets, even today, the prophets to forewarn the people. Come out from among them. Be you separate. Don't touch their unclean things. Don't eat their unclean things. Don't support their unclean businesses. And this is what he told him. He said, you guys would be the head by now if you had just focused and trusted me. But no, you're going to trust man. You're going to go to the man, to your police, or to your mayor, to your governor, to your president for his crumbs, her crumbs, at the expense of your own people. This is that story. This is our story, continual over and over and over. It's no wonder we had to go around the mountain 40 years when y'all took us from our first bondage, because our people are hard-headed, stiff-necked, rebellious. But praise Yah, there's always going to be a few of us who are not going to follow the masses, the Calebs and the Joshuas among us. Praise Yah. I like to say the DFGs among us, and many of you. Sisters like Michelle Hammond out there, who are not going to go the way of the broad path and look to the heathen for restitution. I'm talking about for our own personal wholeness, for the wholeness of our people. People will always remind you that Yah is always in charge, even when things seem to be going awry. If Asa when he had that issue with Israel, he didn't realize that was Yah testing him. See if he could work with his brother, find out a solution for his brother. And the same thing with Israel. It was Yah testing and seeing to reveal to us that this contention amongst the people has to stop. And if it does not stop, the heathen will continue to exploit the people as they are doing right now because of the people. Because of our people in rebellion. And Yah, again, warning us through his word. Reminding us through his word. Guiding us with his word. And what do? As soon as the heathen come and vomit his hatred towards you, and you turn to your own kind thinking that they're going to be there, they are not there for you. If you do it again, you're fired. How does that sound to you? You still love them now? You still honoring the heathens now? You still think the heathen think you matter now? Because you kind of look like them or you're kind to them? They'll let you know. They'll let you know. When the day of reckoning comes, they'll let you know you ain't nothing but another nigger to me. And they'll be clear to you too. And you'll feel it then. Then you walk away with your head down. But you get what you deserve. You reap what you sowed. You sow into the heathen resources. You sow into the heathen's paganistic ways. You sow into the heathen's traditions. Then y'all say, when the consequences come back, don't be looking at me like, why? Pull me. Let me go on. Then this is what the prophet said to Asa. Because thou hast relied on the king of Syria, the heathens, and not relied on Elohim. Therefore the host of the heathens has escaped out of your hand. He said, I would have changed your situation by now. I would have made you the head by now. Were not the Ethiopians and the Libyans a huge host, and very many chariots, and had many chariots and horsemen? Yet because thou didst rely on the Lord, he delivered them into your hand. He said, haven't you seen my power before in your life when you stayed the course, when you trusted me? He said, you've seen this before. And surely, but I'm telling you, you've seen it, because we'd all be dead by now. These people have been trying to kill us for 400 some odd years. And they still can't get rid of all of us. I'm telling you, these Europeans and these other nations have been dead set on killing us. With our food, with our water, with the chemicals, with inoculations, mass incarceration, putting abortion clinics right there on the streets that our sisters walk up and down and try to catch them on a day of depression or a day of regret or a day of sorrow and say, come on in here. Come on in here. We care about you. Remember the proverb when the woman is telling the man who's walking down, she says, come on in my house. Come on in here. My husband has gone to a faraway place. Come on in here. You can lay down with me for a while. He won't know. And what did y'all tell that man? He said, no, don't go in there. There's death in there. He said, don't go into the house of the whores. There is death in there. That whore is inviting you in her house for sex, but it's really she's inviting you in there to destroy you, to kill you. They put these abortion clinics right there. And that abortion, come on in here. Come on in here. This is the right thing. This is about family planning. You don't want to destroy your life. You're too young. Come on in here. Come on in here. It's going to be okay. And y'all said, no, don't go. There's death in there. They're going to kill your seed. They're going to kill your child with your permission and your cooperation. Why? Because you're looking to the heathens and you're not looking to Yah. And then he goes on to say, and this is where I'm going to end this message, my brothers and sisters. He says, for the eyes of Elohim run to and fro throughout the whole earth to show himself strong on behalf of them whose heart is perfect towards him. Whose heart is perfect. Whose heart is perfect. Whose heart is perfect towards Yah. You know what perfect is? I'm going to obey and I'm going to trust and I'm going to believe the word of Yah. I don't give a damn what anybody says. Nothing is going to separate me from the love of Elohim. Nothing. I'm going to stay the course. I don't care. Come hell or high water, as the saying go. Paul talked about it in the book of Romans. I think it's Romans chapter 8. I think the last few verses, maybe from 26 to 30, you're going to have to check it. But he talks about what should separate me from the love of Yah. Not debt, not peril, not crises, not anything. Not fear, nothing will separate me from the love of Yah. See, this is what he means. He says, those whose heart is perfect towards him. And let's get it right. It's not, well, I believe. That's not enough to believe. The devils believe and tremble. Well, I believe, and I know that's all I got to do, but you've been deceived. If you believing and you fear, and the devil believing and he fears, or devils believe and he fears, how do you distinguish your belief and your fears from the same type of belief and fear that Satan has? Except you look at how Satan walks and see if you're walking like Satan. And Satan does whatever comes to his goddamn mind. The most selfish beast that ever walked the face of the earth is Satan and the devils. There's a way that seems right to a man, but the end thereof is the ways of death, the prophet says. And that's many of our people. Well, y'all got me. Y'all know me. How do you know that? Are you walking the way of Satan, or are you walking in the way of the commandments? Because if you're walking in the way of the world, you're no different. The devil got you. The God of this world has you. Yeah, you believe in God, all right. But unfortunately for you, you got the wrong one. Again, Yah is not the author of confusion. He already won. He said, we will know you by the things that you do. Yah said, I'm going to know you by the things you do. He judged Asa because of what Asa did. He watched King Asa, and Asa turned to the heathens and partnered up with the heathens for money, made bargains with the heathens to take advantage of his brother. Although his brother was being unjust, he still should have turned to Yah, because this is what the seer is saying, the prophet is saying, although he was wrong, you still should have turned to me, not to the system, not to the government. Sisters, please, please, please don't forget this. Your communities are destroyed. Our communities are destroyed because of the decisions of your mothers and others, your relatives, around using the government against your men. I'm just telling you. And this is out of love and honor and respect for you. At the end of the day, you're our mothers. You can't forget, you need to remember, you're our mothers. You're the mothers of these men that you despise. These men that you're turning in. These men that you have learned to do without. These are your sons. These are your sons. These are your sons. Those men that you are learning to despise and hate and betray are your sons. And you can't use, well, it's them. Well, this is what Asa did. He said, well, it's Israel's the problem. I'm going to the heathen. And Yah said, oh, no, you don't go to the heathen to solve this problem. And that's why he's saying, I was watching you. Why didn't you turn to me? Sisters, that's what he's saying. I saw what happened. Why didn't you just turn to me and trust me? And love your brother in spite of. No, you don't have to go along with him, but you didn't have to take him down. For the eyes of the Lord run to and fro throughout the whole earth, to show himself strong on behalf of them whose heart is perfect towards him. And then he goes on and says, therefore you have done foolishly. This is what he told Asa. The prophet said, Asa, you have now done a foolish thing by turning against your brother instead of turning to me. Brothers and sisters, I'm telling you, when we turn against each other, we're being fools, and Yah is going to judge us for this. He is going to judge us for it. And what I mean by turning against each other, doing harm. I'm not talking about putting them away, and separating from them until they get their minds right or their actions right. We know that Yah approves that behavior. But when that prodigal son left it there, the man didn't send his army out there to go find his son and kill him because he ran off with his stuff. No, he said, let him go. Hopefully he'll make it back. If he don't, it's on him. That's the mentality. And then Yah turned him around. That old wretched man you sisters talking about, how you know Yah ain't going to turn him around and send him back to you to be the righteous man, the honorable man that you deserve and that you need and that you desire. How do you not know? How do you know that? How do you know Yah's not going to do that with him? But after you use the system to destroy him, there is no chance for that to happen. And now your children are growing up fatherless, hating the man. And guess what? Ultimately going to hate you too. Because he wasn't there and they needed him. Yeah, they're going to turn and blame you ultimately. You can believe that. And then they're going to learn to hate their men. And this vicious cycle going to repeat itself. Generation after generation. I don't need no man. All men are no good and all this foolishness. But typically when our sisters said, they're only talking about us, their own brothers. They're not talking about the heathens, the white man and the Asian man and the Mexican man, the Puerto Rican man. When they say that no men are no good, they're talking about us. And sisters, you know I'm right. And you ought to be ashamed of yourself. You need to repent of that. And brothers, if you're taking that MAGTOW mentality, you need to repent too. Before y'all strike your dumb ass down. If he hasn't already. Why you think so many of you are in prison and dying by the sword out in the street? That's y'all judging your ass for not respecting your women. And looking to him to straighten her ass out. Put her away if she don't want to do right. But you have no right to try to destroy her or go out and beat her ass. You better keep your hands off of these sisters, you damn fool. But anyway, see, herein thou hast done foolishly, Asa. Therefore, from henceforth you shall have wars. Isn't that something? So Yah is saying, as I bring this message to a close, Yah saying that we will never be whole until we turn to him. As long as we continue to turn to the heathens to resolve the problems in the house of Israel, Yah said, I'm going to make y'all war against each other. I'm going to make y'all hate each other. I'm going to make y'all kill each other. I'm going to make you guys snitch on each other. I'm going to cause you guys to betray one another. And therefore you will be no people. And no people will honor you. No people will try to free you. No people will love you. Why? Because you hate yourselves. Because you're rejecting who you are in the eyes of Yah. And self-hatred can only bring about destruction of a people. My sisters and my brothers. And in these last and evil days, when the enemy comes to your door to check, to see through contact tracing, if there's any situation going on, you're going to find out real fast what they think about you. When you find out what happened to your body because of being inoculated, and you start to grow things inside of your body that wasn't there before, that will harm, kill, sterilize, which is another form of death, you're going to regret the day that you hated your brother. And I'm telling you, Yah is bringing this punishment on us because we don't love one another the way Yah has commanded us through the laws to do so. Now you need to ask yourself, which way you going to go? Because now you know. I've given you historical facts to back it up. And we also saw, again, you look at Judas, and the black Messiah. Judas got in because the black Messiah started looking everywhere else instead of looking to Yah and staying within the people. And then they became no people. No more Black Panther Party. I'm not talking about this fake one that's out here right now. I'm talking about the real ones. Because what? They wanted to love the world. They wanted all the world to come. We got to care about everybody. And Yah said, no. That's not your responsibility. I created them. I'll deal with them. You deal with your own. And I've given you laws, statutes, and commandments to help you do that. And if you follow those things, I will bless you. I will protect you. I will open up doors that you can't open, and I will close doors that you can't shut. But until this resonates in the hearts of our people, don't expect anything to change, my sisters and brothers. Debt begets debt. Treachery begets treachery. If you're going to betray, expect to be betrayed. If you're going to hate your own kind, expect to be hated and despised by the world. Because no other nation does that, Judah. No other nation acts that way amongst themselves. When will we learn? I pray sooner than later. DFG, talk to you later. Bye now.